just wanna have fun, clap my hands, turn around now and dance, dance, dance. I just wanna have fun, clap my hands, turn around now and dance, dance, dance. I just wanna have fun, clap my hands, turn around now and dance, dance, dance. I just wanna have fun, clap my hands, turn around now and dance, dance, dance. I just wanna have fun, clap my hands, turn
Optimism
around
at the
now and dance,
playground.
dance, dance.
I feel like a child in a grown-up world. But I want to say I'm all about skin. Skin is really my passion and taking care of myself. But I want to ask Lauren, and Karen's going to talk a little bit more and help us to show us or teach us and educate us how to keep our glowing, lovely, youthful skin. But before we now go into education, I just want to tell you, ladies, and I see there's a few gentlemen joining us. Remember, there will be a giveaway. So you need to take note because there will be questions, and the one that's going to raise their hand first and give the right answer will walk away with 1,000 Rand gift voucher from Clicks to spend on yourself. Woo woo! So let's get into it. Taryn, sorry. I'm going to speak to Lauren first, if you don't. Lauren, can you tell us how important is it to know your skin type?
I mean, it's so important. If you don't know your skin type, a lot of what you're doing in terms of your skincare routine is actually inappropriate. So, I mean, by a show of hands, how many of you think you know your skin type? Okay, so a fair amount of you. How many of you know how to determine your skin type? Okay, so those of you who know your skin type, I hope has been told by a reliable source because you really can't corroborate their story. But essentially what we're wanting you to do is to know your skin type because you're going to build your skincare routine around your skin type. Because no matter how good an ingredient or a product is, if it's not appropriate for your skin type, it can actually do more harm than good. So when you get home this evening, you take off your makeup, you wash your face, wait a couple of minutes, and then you're going to assess, how does my skin feel? Okay, so if it feels quite comfortable, we'll generally say you've got a normal skin type. There's a good balance of your oil glands, your pores are kind of regular sized or not too big, not too prominent, and your skin's got quite an even texture. That kind of skin type, we're just wanting to look after what we got, protect and optimize. Then if you wash your face and your skin is feeling a bit tight, it's a little bit dry, then you know you kind of got a dry skin type. There you're wanting to pump up the moisturizer, you're wanting to look at ingredients that are humectant, that are drawing water into the skin, and you're wanting to make sure you're not using anything that's stripping or further drying out your skin. If your skin then looks a bit shiny, feels like you need to do a tissue blot after, you're generally a bit more oily. And in that instance, you're wanting to pare back the moisturizer or use more kind of lightweight moisturizers, fluid moisturizers, gel moisturizers. And then the last thing is if it's a bit of a combination. So oily in the middle, dry at the outside, you're going to have a bit of a mixed bag. And then we often speak about sensitive skin as a skin type. And that's where your skin might feel a little bit stingy, a bit burny. And you're going to look for more soothing, gentler ingredients, maybe things like niacinamide, again, your ceramides and humectants. But as a dermatologist, I just want to caution that be wary of labeling yourself as having sensitive skin. It's not a diagnosis, and it might be a clue to an underlying skin concern or skin problem. So it's always be mindful of that it is a variation of normal in some people, but it could also be an indication that we actually have a problem in the skin that we need to sort out before you go on a shopping spree of products to try and sort out that skin concern.
Amazing. And now that we know what our skin type is, Karen, what is a good skin routine? I know everybody, we need to have, I believe, in a skin routine, although I only started in my late 20s with a good skin routine. But a skin routine is needed. But what is a good one, and how do you apply your products?
Okay, that is a fantastic question because it is such a common question I get asked every single day. There is this misconception that you need a 10-step skincare routine. You actually don't. Ideally, your skincare should consist of a cleanser, treatment, if you're on treatment, a moisturizer, and sunscreen. I mean, as dermatologists, we preach sunscreen on a daily basis. So you do not need all the fancy stuff, unless, of course, you're into skincare. However, a gentle cleanser, your treatment, if you're on acne medication, for example, the moisturizer to protect the barrier of your skin, and sunscreen. And when we say sunscreen, it's not once a day, right? Even if you're using an SPF of 100, it's not once a day. You'd rather use an SPF of 30 and do it frequently. So when we say frequently, it's not every 6 hours, it's not every 12 hours, it's actually every 2 hours. So if you're using an SPF of 50, for example, basically means that if you burn in 10 minutes, an SPF of 30 gives you 300 times protection, and SPF 50 gives you 500 times protection from sunburn, for example. So the percentage between an SPF 30 and 50 is actually 1% difference. So rather you use a sunscreen that is 30 and do it frequently than 100 and do it once a day. So keep it simple, cleanse, treat, moisturize, and use your sunscreen. That's it.
Okay. Who's using sunscreen? But I found it difficult if I've now put on my full makeup. Now, how do I apply my sunscreen? Because I don't want to spoil my face.
Okay, that is an excellent question, because we're always preaching reapply, reapply, reapply. But theoretically, how actually do you reapply sunscreen when you've got your makeup on? I mean, for example, you're in this room now. Who's wearing their sunscreen?
Who's reapplied their sunscreen?
Okay, that's a question. So one of the methods that you can use to reapply sunscreen, you can either physically reapply it again, which is not always very practical, or you can spray it on. It's a good method, however, it doesn't always disperse evenly. Thirdly, you can actually use a SPF brush and just kind of brush it on. Also doesn't really reapply evenly, however, that is still better than nothing.
Oh, okay. Nice. And Lauren, when we now have to use serums, because I know serums are one of the products that they say we need to incorporate. But I don't know if our audience also know there's such a lot of products on the market. And because of our skin types that differ, I don't actually know what serums to use. Is it not, or vitamin C's? Is it retinol? You get two retinols, retinol and retinol. I don't know the difference, but let's start with our vitamins C serums. When do you apply it? Because sometimes they say, oh, apply it at night. And the others then say, again, apply it in the morning. So that's also for me, I don't really know when and how to.
I love your question because I think it's highlighting the confusion that most people sit with. And most of you in the room are actually interested in skincare. You're evaluating skincare to a much more intense degree than the average person. And you're kind of bombarded with shelves and shelves of products of, should I be using this? Should I be using that? What's better? What's appropriate?
Yeah.
And I always say, take a step back and write down, what is my skin type? What is my skin concern? And what is my skin goal? What does the serum do? Is it appropriate for my skin type? Does it do anything for my skincare concern, either making it better or worse? And how does this get me to my skin goal? Okay, so that's your first starting points. Then obviously there is a hierarchy of serums and a hierarchy of ingredients. So not every ingredient is made equal, and even within the same ingredient batch, not every vitamin C, for example, is made equal. So you really have to be an ingredient purist and look at ingredients and say, is this formulated in the correct way? Is this in the appropriate formulation? Is this in the appropriate packaging for it to be effective? So it's really, you've got to do a kind of a quality control check at every point, which a lot of us don't do. We just see the price tag and we're like, that's the one, or this is a really cool marketing campaign, or they've used my favorite influencer. And you really have to get into the habit of looking at it. Is this also an ingredient that complements my kind of huge armamentarium already? Or is this something that's going to be cancelled out by something else? So I usually say to people, you really probably only need about 2 serums in your routine. For example, vitamin C is something that I really believe everybody should have in their routine. It's a potent antioxidant. It's going to do anti-aging, pigmentation, generally looking after your skin, brightening. Most people can tolerate the vitamin C. Hyaluronic acid is another nice ingredient that not everybody needs, but we can all benefit from in terms of hydration, supporting your other skincare ingredients. And then retinol, is really our anti-aging hero, helps with photo-aging, pigmentation, and then also if you are acne prone is a great ingredient. And beyond that, I think you're going to look at ingredients based on what is your skincare concern. Is there a treatment component to this? But really pare it back. Remember that everything takes about 6 to 8 weeks to have an effect. So before you're adding in more, give everything a chance to work. And before you add in more, interrogate your routine. Is this better than what I've got? Do I need this or not?
Yeah, thanks. And Karen, we now learn that we don't have to have like 10 products to put on our skin. So if we've got our clear skin, we've cleansed it, it's perfect. Do we have to, when we start, say for instance our serum, we start with our serum, do we have to let it dry or let it soak into our skin before we apply the other moisturizer, or can we just put it all together like times are running out? I need to put this 3 or 4 products on my face and there's no time.
All right, so also a very frequently asked question, because there's all these steps, and how exactly do you time everything so that you have full absorption of all your products? So generally I give it a 3-minute rule. So you'd wash your face. If you're using a treatment, wait 3 minutes, put on your treatment, wait another 3 minutes. If you're using a serum, mind you, not everyone needs a serum. If you're using a serum, apply your serum, wait about 3 to 4 minutes, moisturize and sunscreen. So I give it about 3 minutes, let everything absorb nicely, and don't just rub everything together, because sometimes I hear that people mix their sunscreen with their moisturizer. You see, when you do that, you are decreasing the potency of your sunscreen, right? And now SPF 50 is like a SPF 0 now. So don't mix everything together in a jar and kind of put it on the face. You layer it on nicely, giving it about 3 minutes to settle in quite nicely into the skin.
Amasa, I'm one of those that there was like a time where I read something, they said, you can put mix your moisturizer with your sunscreen. I said, why not? It's time consuming. And I have less product. I don't have to use a lot of product. But like you say, it doesn't help us using all the good products, but we don't use it the right ways. Then we won't see the benefit of the products. So that is a good thing, thank you, because I was the one that also mix my products. Is there anything, any concerns at the audience that want to just raise and ask a question maybe?
You! That showed me. No, it's not a
question.
proper skincare routine.
Hello. I want to know, how often should a person double cleanse?
Okay. Do you want to take it? Okay, I'll take that. So the whole issue of double cleansing is actually quite contentious. Not everybody needs to double cleanse. However, if you do wear makeup frequently and, lots and lots of products, double cleansing ideally just once a day. So at nighttime, when you're removing all your makeup and all your products, you'd use either the same cleanser. So double cleansing doesn't mean you have to use 2 different cleansers. You can actually double cleanse with the same cleanser. And usually in the morning time, there's nothing on the skin unless, of course, you've reapplied makeup again in the middle of the night. But generally in the morning, you don't have to double cleanse. So usually nighttime is when you'd double cleanse.
Hi, ladies. I just want to kind of find out the truth around pores. Like, can we actually minimize them or not? And in that case, if we can, what can we do?
I love that question, because I think social media and the skincare space has made pores something that we villainize, that we fear, and we see people with this beautiful filtered skin and we're like, oh, obviously you can get rid of pores. The first tip I have for you all is throw away that magnifying mirror. Nobody should be looking at their skin to that degree unless you're plucking your eyebrows. So unless you don't need to evaluate your skin. Pore size is something that's genetically determined and also has an influence on your skin type or is influenced by your skin type. So if you have a more oily skin, your pores do have a larger appearance than those with a drier or a more normal combination skin. You cannot shrink or change the size of pores. You can improve their appearance, and pores tend to look larger when they're expanded by keratin, which is the protein that we find on our skin, the same protein that turns black and oxidizes and gives you the appearance of blackheads. So by exfoliating your skin, you can kind of empty out the pore, which would make it look smaller, but you cannot shrink or change the size of your pore. And ingredients that are really great for that is things like your salicylic acid, your niacinamide, and obviously retinol is a great ingredient for pore size and texture.
I've got a question for you, Dr. Temi or Dr. Lauren, if you can answer. How often or should we change our products? How often should we change our products? Because I used to use Nivea. Sometimes I use, a different one. And we just never know. And then it expires and then it's gone. Then I try to keep using it, but
So generally, I recommend product change between seasons, right? So usually in summertime, for me, for example, I'm very oily in summer. So a product that I'm using in winter is not what I'm going to be using in summer. In summer, I'm looking for things that are non-comedogenic, non-acnegenic. In winter, I'm looking for things that have got more ceramides, for example, things that are just going to moisturize and hydrate my skin more, because you can't use, for most people, the same ingredients, rather, not really products or brands. You can't use the same ingredients right through the year. There will be a little bit of a problem here and there.
Okay, we've got one more question, and then we're going to have to give away the voucher. Oh, you quiet? When I say the voucher?
I wanted to ask a question, I think, to Dr. Temi. And do dermatologists look at underlying factors? Because most of the time we apply a lot of skin products and not look at underlying factor because you apply it all the time, only to realize maybe you have hormonal imbalance. So do you guys look at underlying factor and then maybe not prescribe but advise on what product to use and medication perhaps? Yeah.
Okay, that's a beautiful question. Thank you so much for that. That is literally what we do on a daily basis and with so much pleasure. I get patients coming in just to ask, what should I use? My skin is oily. What ingredients should I look out for? And it's something that we actually do every single day. Whether there's an underlying factor, whether it's hormonal, we actually look into that as well. We do tests if it's indicated. Mind you, not all conditions need medical evaluation or blood tests. However, if things keep persisting, we do dig deeper. And yes, recommendation, prescription is what we do every single day. We prescribe medications according to your skin concerns. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question. Did I get it?
I just want to actually add to what Temi said, is that it's important to remember that dermatologists are medical doctors. So we are trained doctors and we specialize much like a cardiologist does, much like an orthopedic surgeon does. So we are trained to evaluate the skin as an organ. So much like other people are looking at hearts, we're looking at it as an organ. So we're looking at the underlying causes. We understand the interaction between the skin and the systems. And I think that's what maybe separates your dermatologist from a therapist or someone who isn't specifically trained.
So those 3,000 diseases of the hair, skin, and nails is what we do on a daily basis. So whether it's a hair condition, a nail disease, or skin cancer surgery in theater, your dermatologist is there as well. So we're not just here looking cute, we are deep within the skin.
Yeah. And you ladies are looking, fabulous. You can see they're real dermatologists, not playing. They look like they're real deal. Okay, before we close, could you please give us those questions? Oh, what was that? Hey, the building must not fall near us yet. We still need to give away those vouchers. Could you please give us those questions for our audience? Now, the first one to put up their hand, please don't fight with me. I still have to go home to Joburg. Please, and I'm going to ask for you ladies to please help us choose, because I don't have my glasses on, so I won't see who. But you can give us a question, and good luck. May the best winner win.
Lauren, will you start with the question so we can see?
Yes, I'd actually like to ask a question that you touched on that you said you didn't really understand the difference between, and maybe we can clarify for some other members of our audience. So, can anybody give us the difference or explain the difference between retinol and retinaldehyde?
No, Andy.
Listen, it's 1,000.
Give it a chance, Johnny. Give it a chance. You never know. You never know.
Retinol promotes a firmness of the skin and tightening of the skin. And retinaldehyde, if I'm not wrong, it's hydration for the skin.
Is that the right answer?
No.
No. No, not good. You're telling me. We are Googling.
I think retinoids are stronger, and other one is
Not so strong.
I'm going to have to... Okay.
Yes.
I think that the retinaldehydes are more potent than like retinol, because retinol you get in like 0.5%, 1%, 2%, that type of thing.
Perfect. That's a great answer. That is the answer.
I'm giving it to her.
You're giving it to her.
You get a 1,000 rand voucher. Give her one applause. One more question.
Yeah, so just to touch on her point that, I mean, you've all said there are vitamin A derivatives. So they're actually, the retinol and retinol do the same thing. The retinaldehyde is just more potent. So you're going to see quicker, faster results, but you're going to have more risk of irritation. But they are in the same class.
Temi, Dr. Temi, do you have a question for us?
I do. It's very simple. I'm expecting all hands up. So it's actually
Already up.
Anyway, just like how you got the ticket, you were early, my dear. Love it for you.
this is my patient. I'm trying to look. I see some of you guys here. So it's actually two questions, but very similar themes. So number one, what does SPF stand for? And number two, how often do you have to reapply your SPF?
She's I hope she gets it right. That's a lot of effort.
Yes, you tell me, you sorry. I want to get the answer.
SPF sun protection factor and
Every 2 hours. Should we give it to her? Does she deserve it?
Yeah.
You win a 1,000 rand voucher from Clay. Back to you, ladies.
Now, I want to just ask a question. When it comes to aging, if I look at you two, you have flawless skin. What recipe is there to preserve youthful and glowy skin?
I mean, there's no one single recipe. And I think a huge component of aging, I mean, there's these intrinsic factors and these extrinsic factors. So your genetics are going to have a huge influence on how you age. And unfortunately, you can do nothing really to change that. But what you can manipulate is your exposures. So the biggest thing we will harp on and on and on about is sunscreen. If you're not doing sunscreen, you're wasting your time. And then for me, antioxidants, something like vitamin C and retinol at whatever strength that you can tolerate, that you can do it regularly. That's my recipe. Temi?
Yes. So for anti-aging or skincare in general, I have a holy grail. So it's three different things. So number one would be your sunscreen. That is your most potent, as Dr. Naita said, that's your most potent anti-aging pack. Number two, your retinoids. Not retinol or retinol, the retinoids, the good stuff, the prescription stuff that your dermatologist will prescribe for you. And number three would be your, lost my train of thought there, would be your antioxidants. So your vitamin C in a proper percentage, in a proper type, not random vitamin C's, the good stuff. That is where you don't skimp out. You can skimp out on a sunscreen brand or that kind of thing. Vitamin C, there are levels to vitamin C. Use a proper one.
Wonderful.
We've got a question, I think, a hand up here. Amocha. Yeah.
Hi, I just wanted to check with you when you say sunscreen, is it the sunscreen included in the product or is the separate sunscreen?
Okay, should I answer that since I mentioned it. So ideally, please reapply a proper sunscreen afterwards. So yes, there's lots of moisturizers that have an included sunscreen, but generally that's not enough. You still need to use a separate SPF, a broad spectrum SPF, because remember with sunscreen, there are different types of sunscreens. You've got the UVA protection, the UVB protection, the broad spectrum. You need a broad spectrum sunscreen to address the UVA, which causes aging, the UVB, which causes burns and skin cancer, and that you only find in a separate sunscreen reapplied, not in the moisturizer.
Commies. Stay more
We're going
questions.
to take 2 more questions. Do we still have time? We had 5 minutes, 4 minutes.
Here we've got.
Good afternoon, everybody. Everyone looking beautiful. Thank you to our dermatologist today. I just wanted to ask, when it comes to dry, flaky skin, is it recommended to also use your shampoo? Because apparently people are also using the Selsun Blue shampoo on their face to reduce the flakiness, and it works for some of them.
So I mean, it's a good concept that you're speaking about, and the concept and what I dislike about that concept and why I dislike social media in many ways is that the use of Selsun to reduce flakiness on the face is specifically indicated if you have seborrheic dermatitis, which is a form of eczema. And there we are trying to target the Demodex mites, which is part of your microbiome that is causing the problem. So if you have got general dry, flaky skin and you put Selsun on your face, it's going to exacerbate that dryness. So it's one of those things, and it again comes back to my point, if you've tried something and it's not working, it's making your skin worse, you need to have a diagnosis. So Selsun, although it's over the counter, the ingredients like that are actually should be prescription. So they're not for just general use, and they really should be under the guidance of a doctor or a dermatologist. But thank you for the question, because it's very important, dispelling of myths and these so-called skincare hacks that we see kind of going viral.
Okay, in closing, I'm going to hand it over to you ladies because we are running out of time, so I don't want to take too much of your time. So no more questions, sorry guys, and over back to you.
So now we've come to the last little bit of our exciting skin educating. What is a no-no when it comes to your routine? For instance, I must say, I slept with my makeup on once, and it was so bothering me because I'm not used to that, and I know it's a no for me. But I was so tired, and I couldn't wait for the next morning just to wash my face. I don't think it's because I felt like my skin can't breathe.
Yeah.
Temi? What would you say? No.
I mean, I think for me, is a physical exfoliant and just exfoliation in general is something that I'm really not a fan of.
Really?
So I mean, I'm not opposed to a chemical exfoliant once or twice a week, but I think there's better ingredients that you can use in your routine than exfoliants. But physical exfoliants, if you can feel anything gritty in your skin, it doesn't belong on your face. It causes micro tears on your skin, which causes inflammation, sensitivity. So no.
Okay, that's great.
So my no-no is stop chasing trends, right? Stop chasing trends. Chase facts that are based on medical science. And I think in the terms of Gen Zs, is it clock it? I think let's clock that. let's clock that. Those kind of things. So stop chasing trends. Let's chase facts that are based on medical science.
Wonderful. So that's a wrap. I hope your audience had a wonderful educational skincare.
Interrupted lot. Thank you so much.
Turn around now and dance, dance, dance. I just wanna have fun, clap my hands.
Get that
Turn
big
around
goodie
now
bag
and
on
dance,
your way
dance,
out,
dance.
snack.
I just wanna have fun,
Because
clap
this
my
is
hands.
not.
Turn
I want
around now
everyone to
and dance,
slow,
dance,
right?
dance. I just wanna have fun, clap my hands. Turn around now and dance, dance, dance. I just wanna have fun, clap my hands.